Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. DOS here, and welcome back to this episode concerning RWBY. So, let's start off by saying I will be doing a reaction to the RWBY soundtrack. The majority of you have voted. Well, you guys have voted, and the majority of you voted for yes. The minority for no, but it was relatively decent. Let's actually see where the votes are at right now. Let's see if they've changed. It is at 79% for yes and 21% for no, with 19 votes. So there is a few of you that don't want to and don't care about it. So I thought this video is gonna be kind of long already on its own. So let's just go ahead and make a actual separate video altogether for the soundtrack, so that the people who care about me listening to it and me giving my thoughts and reactions to the music can watch it, and the people who don't can just wait for volume 2. But anyway, let's get started in my discussion concerning volume 1 after watching the full thing. So first off, I want to start off by saying I've been part of the Rooster community since 2014, since back in high school. By the way, I do have notes. You guys can't really see all that well, but I have a lot of notes concerning RWBY that I just wrote down right now. It's a lot. I have a lot of notes concerning RWBY, so this might be a long episode. But anyway, so if you see me looking down, I'm referencing my notes. All right, but. So yeah, I joined the Rooster community back in 2014. I actually found it because of Michael Jones, because of Rage Quit. So because of this, because I've been in the Rooster community for 6 years now, it's obviously really hard to avoid RWBY. RWBY is a big part of Rooster Teeth. It's Red vs. Blue and RWBY are like the two big, huge shows. And so there are a few things that I'm aware of for RWBY for the future, but for the most part, I'm very much in the dark. Especially for the recent volume that came out, I know absolutely nothing. All I know is the character designs got changed. That's really it. That's all I know for that one. So just wanted to point that out there. As reactions go forward, there's going to be some stuff where I won't have the most raw reaction that's possible, just because being part of the Rooster community, I'm privy to certain knowledge. But anyway, let's start off with my thoughts and expectations of characters. Of the characters that we met in this volume, and what my expectations and hopes are for them in the future. So obviously, let's start off with the flagship girl. Let's start off with RWBY. RWBY is a character who is everything that I expected to be. Granted, though, since I watch a ton of Achievement Hunter content, her voice actress is the one I'm most well aware of besides Yang. Lindsay Jones. Lindsay Jones, the voice of Ruby Rose. And seeing her in her content, they're very similar in personality. So I expected RWBY to be very boisterous and friendly and a little loud. RWBY fulfilled every expectation I had for her, and didn't really surprise me all that much, to be perfectly honest. As for my future expectations and hopes, I want to see RWBY become more of a leader in her team. I want her to take charge and take more responsibility in battles. We saw a little bit of that in this volume, but I want her to really take that leader position by the balls and do a good job as being a leader. So up next, we will move on to Weiss. For anyone who has watched my reactions for this volume, you guys know that I don't like Weiss. Weiss was someone who I had very different expectations and for, considering how many people I follow on social media that love Weiss and just simp for her endlessly. I had relatively high and different expectations for her, and so I didn't expect Weiss to be a prissy punk who argued with everyone and had such a sour attitude. I was really taken by surprise for that. I thought maybe she's gonna be a little bit cold. Pun, Ice Queen pun. I thought she's gonna be a little bit cold and a little bit guarded, with her actual attitude, but she was more of just a bitch, to be honest. However, I do like Weiss's design. It's probably one of the best designs out of the group, in my opinion. I love the beautiful dress, the hair. I do like the scar. And I will say, probably out of the main four, I like Weiss's weapon the most. Mutant Aster is a really cool weapon, and I like how the hilt is like a 6-shooter chamber. I think it's super nice, and it can lend itself to really beautiful choreography and fighting. As for future expectations and hopes for her, I would hope for her to stop being such a prick and to be more likable. I want her to get along better with her teammates and to learn more humility, I guess, is what I can say. In Volume 1, she started to learn, but then she would just revert back. We saw some growth with her and Blake at the end, but that can just easily be reverted next volume, and she can be a bitch again, so we'll have to see. After Weiss, we'll move on to Yang. So as most of you know, Yang is my favorite out of the four. I love her design. I loved her personality from what I knew, and I love her voice actress Barbara. Barbara's an amazing woman and super nice. However, I would say my expectations were somewhat met for Yang. I was really expecting more from Yang this volume. I thought she was going to get a lot more screen time. I thought there was just going to be more for Yang in general this volume, and there wasn't. There really wasn't anything for her. So my expectations for Yang were and weren't met. We got to see her funny, bubbly personality and her anger, but we couldn't really see a lot of it. So I feel wanting more for Yang. As for what I'm hoping in the future, and especially for next volume, is that we get to see more of her, and that we get to see her personality blossom, and get to see more of what Yang has to offer. Because right now she's just someone who's like the super cool sister who punches stuff. That's all I really get from Yang at the moment. So I'm really hoping on just more meat to Yang's character and story for next season. I'm praying. And so we move on to the last member of RWBY, which is Blake. Blake the Faunus. So, as I alluded to in my reactions, I knew that Blake was a Faunus. That was not something that took me by surprise. What took me by surprise was how quickly it was revealed. I thought it was more of a secret for a long time. I thought like it was going to be like Volume 3 and then it gets revealed that she's a Faunus. Not at like Volume 1. So that took me by surprise. But I knew she was a Faunus. As for expectations, my expectations were met because honestly, I wasn't really expecting a lot from Blake this volume. From all four of the girls in RWBY, I don't really see a lot of stuff concerning Blake on social media. Blake is kind of like the one that people forget about, I guess. I see a lot more Weiss. I see a lot of RWBY. I see a bit of Yang. But I don't really ever see Blake. Blake is very rare for me to see on social media. However, considering I didn't have a lot of expectations for Blake, a lot was exceeded and met very well just by the last few episodes of this volume. The last few episodes, we learned a lot about her background. We got the reveal that she was a Faunus, and we got to see how that affected people in her friend group. I thought that was surprising and very nice to see. We also got to learn her stance on the White Fang and a little bit on how and why she left the White Fang. Because the only time we had seen Blake with them was in her character trailer. We got to see her with some other Faunus taking the train out that Weiss referenced. So for this volume, my expectations for Blake were very well met. Probably exceeded, actually. What I'm hoping for the future next volume is more progress with her and her friendships, and her coming out of her shell a bit. She's very much a introvert. She just likes to put her head in her books and just kind of do her own thing. She likes to just chill out, which I understand and I completely get. I just want to see her break out of that shell, have her trust her teammates more, and become better friends with them. I think Blake is a very interesting character. She's someone that brings a really interesting dynamic to the group, considering she's a Faunus. She used to be part of the Faunus terrorist group, I guess is what you can call it. So it really brings that that little factor. You feel me? You get me? That's really all I had on what my expectations were and what I'm hoping for the future for the main group. So now we move on to secondary characters. This is where for the most part I don't know a lot concerning them. I'm very much in the dark for quite a lot of them. There's not a lot of information that I've even known. Really the only secondary character that I know bits on is like 2 of them. That's really it. But we'll start off with Jean, who was one of the secondary characters, one of the first secondary characters that we met in this show. The only thing I knew about Jean was that he was voiced by Miles Luna. That's it. It's the only thing I knew. I don't know anything else about Jean. I don't know why his aura is so strong, what the hell his aura is. Nothing. I'm completely in the dark on it. So my expectations were extremely low for Jean. I had nothing to go off of. I had nothing to really put to him. However, we did see a lot of growth in Jean this volume. Jean was really one of the main focuses for this volume all throughout, which is interesting. You'd really think Jean was kind of the main character in this volume compared to RWBY, which is kind of weird. In this volume, we saw that Jean faked his entrance exams, basically, and got in to Beacon on a lie. We also learned that, for some reason, he has an extremely strong aura. We saw him be a little bitch, a pushover, and we saw him be not as much of a little bitch and a pushover towards the end. He still is. He's still kind of doubting himself and kind of a loser, but he's really trying to be better. He's trying to be more of a warrior, more of a leader, which was great. I think Jean had some of the best character development this volume, and I think everyone here can agree. Jean had really great character development. The only thing I'm hoping for with Jean is for him to grow more of a spine, really. That's the only thing that I'm hoping for Jean in the future. Just him to be less of a loser. So after Jean, we move on to Pyrrha. I can get the thumb, yeah, Pyrrha. So far, I'm really liking Pyrrha. Pyrrha is a great character. I love her personality. I love how she is. She's just really nice. She seems super sweet and kind and extremely skilled. She can work her harpoon shotgun, it's an extension of her arm. She can fight extremely well. She's probably one of the best fighters out of all the characters. I think Pyrrha is just a really interesting and unique character. I really am intrigued in her. We can clearly see that she has some feelings for Jean throughout this volume. Not extremely romantic, but we can see that she cares for Jean, and she really wants Jean to succeed and believe in himself, which I appreciate. That just makes Pyrrha a really great girl. For the future, for my hopes for her, I'm hoping that we get more background on her. We don't really know anything about Pyrrha. We know she's a great fighter, which is why she's on their universe's form of Wheaties. They're on their Pumpkin Pete's. But we didn't really learn a whole lot about her backstory and a lot about her. We just know that she's relatively famous, and she comes from I guess a famous family, as far as I remember. We don't really know that much more, so I'd love to get more of that context, more of that background. I'd love to know where she comes from, what her relationship is with her family, and I just want to know more. After that, we move into two characters that I really don't know anything about. That's Nora and Ren. The only time I've seen them is in RWBY. That's it. Apparently, if I recall correctly, at this moment, Ren is voiced by Monty Oum, which is interesting. I actually did not know that. So I didn't know that Monty actually voiced a character in this show. If it is Ren that he voices, it makes a lot of sense, considering Ren seems like the type of OC style that Monty would make. We don't really see a lot of Nora and Ren this volume, like at all. We get little tiny like bits and pieces of them, but not a lot. But we did see enough though to tell that they work amazingly together. They're like a dynamic duo. We can clearly see that Nora is the noisy, eager one, and Ren is the more quiet and reluctant one. They are opposites that attract, I guess, is what you can say. They're a great team. They work extremely well together. They take off of each other's cues very well, and they balance each other out fairly well. But we didn't really learn a lot about them. We don't know why they're there, where they come from. We don't know how they met, how they know each other. We haven't really seen the full extent of their power as well. We saw a little bit of it in the first big fight scene that we had in the volume, but besides that, nothing really, to be honest. Considering that, my expectations were non-existent. I didn't have any expectations for them because, in all honesty, I thought we were going to meet them like later. In fact, I completely forgot like they existed until they showed up, so that's my bad. I'm hoping for the next volume in the future we get more content on them, especially in the next volume. I'm hoping we can get more content on them. We need some more substance for them, or else they might as well just be the shadow people in the background. But yeah, so I really don't have any expectations for them. I didn't have any expectations for them for this volume, and I don't have any for them in the future since I don't know anything about them. So my expectations are extremely low. So basically, if they give us something next volume, the expectations will be met, and I will be happy. And now lastly, for our protagonists, we end off on two characters that we just met at the end of this season. Those being Wukong and Penny. Now, there's only two things with Wukong that I knew about. One is that he's apparently friends with Jean at some point because of RWBY. That's why I know it. And then also that Wukong is voiced by Michael Jones. That's really it. That's all I know about Wukong. As for Penny, I know two things for her that I won't divulge at this time for obvious reasons. However, I didn't know how much firepower she was rocking. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't expecting to meet either of them at all this season. I was thinking maybe at the very least we're gonna meet them in volume 2. I was honestly expecting to see them in like volume 3 or something. I did not know that they appeared this early into the series. I knew that they existed as characters, but I did not know that they came out in volume 1. So that's kind of crazy. So due to this, I had nothing to go off of them for this volume. However, I'm very curious in learning more about them in the future. As for Wukong, I'm really curious as to where he came from and what his purpose is to be in the location that everyone's at right now. Like, why is he there? Why is it assumed that he was taking part in like the My Hero Academia type of like fighting festival thing? But we never got a confirmation of that. That might just be the answer, and I might just be really stupid and thinking too much into it. Still, regardless, I want to know where he came from, what his background is, and why he doesn't care about the White Fang either. Because he is a Faunus, but he's not really like part of the White Fang, so that's what interests me quite a bit. As for Penny, Penny's more of an enigma. I'm really curious as to who Penny was talking about, who Penny was talking to at the end of the whole scene where she completely kicked ass. I'm also hoping that she'll be included more with our group of Mary characters, and hoping that her quirkiness and her weirdness gets appreciated from the people that we know and we love. But right now, both of them are pretty like big mysteries. We know that Penny's there for the festival thing. Penny specifically said that, but we don't know who she was talking to, where she's really coming from, and why she is what she is. For Wukong just seems like a bum who caught a ride on a boat, so I'm really curious as to where he came from and why he's here. But enough of our protagonists. We move on to our antagonists. Now, I won't be mentioning Jean's bully because I really don't think he's going to come back at any point in the series. He might. Who knows? I might be completely stupid and writing him off, and he might come back and be like, "Hey, man, I saw the bad stuff that I was doing. I'm going to make it right with you. I'm going to fight alongside you, brother." Who knows? Something like that might happen. But for now, I'm not going to include him. He was just something for Jean to grow some balls for. So we'll be talking about Mr. Bowler Hat himself, Roman. Actually, I thought his name was Rowan, but it's Roman, apparently. And the hot lady that we met at the end, called Cinder. So we didn't see either of them almost at all in the volume. Like, they were very absent. Far less for Cinder than Roman, but both had very little spotlight, which does make sense considering this volume was more of a way to introduce us to these characters and get us to like know more about specific ones. We're mainly focusing on the relationships between each other than like villains and like problems and stuff like that concerning them, which makes sense. So I'm mainly excited to see what nefarious things that they're going to get up to. I know that they're reoccurring villains throughout the series. That's really all I know. I will say I don't know anything, absolutely nothing about Roman. I know nothing. In fact, I couldn't even remember his name. I had to look up his name while I was writing down my notes, because I just know him as Bowler Hat Guy. I know nothing about him. I don't know who he is, why he's doing what he's doing, if he's employed by someone. I have no clue. However, for Cinder, I didn't know one thing about her, and that was that she's voiced by Jessica Negri. Very kind woman, by the way. I had the pleasure to meet her. She's very nice. Probably like one of the favorite people I've ever met. Super kind. That's all I really know about Cinder. All I know is that she's a villain and she's voiced by Jessica Negri. That's really, and she has fire powers. That's it. Hence her name, Cinder. Also, when Cinder was revealed and in the end credit scene, we saw two other characters. I have no idea who those two characters are, and I'm very curious to learn more about them. I've kind of seen them in RWBY Chibi, if I recall. I haven't watched RWBY Chibi in ages. Like, I haven't caught up with it at all. But I have no idea who they are. I'm very curious to learn more about our villains and to learn why they're doing what they're doing, and just to get to see more of them on screen. We really couldn't see any of it. Like, we saw, I think, Roman in the first 1 or 2 episodes, and we saw him at the end, and then we saw Cinder in the same amount of time, and Cinder even less. Cinder was in shadow up until that end credit scene, so I don't know. I'm really interested to know what they have in store for us. Well, since we've talked about all the characters I really want to focus on, we can now move on to the quality of the show and my expectations for the show overall before I went into it and now. So, obviously, seeing as this Volume 1 was released back in 2013, my expectations for the quality were very low. Obviously, this came out when I was in junior year. Yeah, this came out like when I was in junior year, right? When exactly did it get released? First episode was July 18th. So yeah, this was the beginning of my junior year that it got released to. Right? No, it was the end of sophomore, beginning of junior year was when Volume 1 was released. So this was a long time ago. 7 years ago this came out. So obviously, my expectations were very low for quality-wise. As you can see, there was a ton of shadow people in the back. Animations are very janky. It was kind of rough. It was rough around the edges. However, we were able to see Monty Ohm's talent shine in portions of this volume, specifically in fight sequences. So, as someone who has watched Red vs. Blue, and I'm very familiar with Monty Ohm and how he works, and with the effort that Monty puts in his animations. So, episodes like Player in Pieces and Black and White really showed what this series is capable of and what we can hope to see as time goes on. Of course, as I go into the series further, animations, character animations, backgrounds, and background characters will improve. It'll get less janky, it'll get far smoother. We'll start to have people that learn how to use this engine, learn how to animate, and actually get professional animators as time goes on. Because you have to remember, in 2013, Rooster Teeth was still relatively small. Back then, I think their staff was like, what, 50 people back then? Like 50 to 70 people? And now Rooster Teeth is like hundreds upon hundreds of employees now. So, yeah. For Volume 1, everything was serviceable. There was nothing too special overall. There was okay stuff with a few gems sprinkled in and about. I think overall, Volume 1 did what it needed to do. It introduced us to these characters. It made us interested in the world. It made us interested in the villains and what's going on. And I think the gimmick that RWBY has that works for it, makes it funny, is everything's a fucking gun. A scythe can be a gun. A fencing sword can be a gun. Knuckles can be a gun. A cane can be a gun. Anything can be a gun. And that leads to some interesting fighting and fight sequences, which I hope to see. So, as I said in the beginning of this episode, I will be making another video next week talking about the soundtrack. So all you that care about me listening to the music and giving my 2 cents on it can watch it, whereas other people that don't can just wait until the week after for Volume 2. Personally, I'm super excited. I don't know when quality gets ramped up, and I have no idea like what to expect. The one thing that I'm thinking happens in Volume 2 that I know happens in Volume 2 probably is the food fight scene. Probably one of the most famous scenes for RWBY. That's really all I know and I'm expecting from Volume 2. I have nothing else to go off of. Also, one great thing about Volume 2 is this is when they got better budget. So we're going to be getting longer episodes. Episodes more like in the 15 to 25 minute mark, which is great. That means more content and just more stuff to talk about. Also, I apologize, I hit my mic right now. Sorry if that hurt your ears. So I will be making a separate video talking about the soundtrack. However, from the music that I was able to listen to throughout me watching it, like the intro and the actual episodes themselves, the music was amazing. From what I paid attention, it was filled with just beautiful and catchy compositions, and it was obviously filled with a lot of love. What's the name of her? The woman who has basically sung like all the RWBY songs. Casey Lee Williams. Casey Lee Williams does a fantastic job in singing. I think she still sings for RWBY as well, if I'm not mistaken. And I think she was like, what, 11 when she sang for RWBY at this time? She was really young, I know that. So I know there's a lot to delve into. I want to actually see how much there would be to listen to for the first soundtrack. from the looks of this, it looks like there's 12 songs. Starting with This Will Be the Day and then Wings. Now, obviously, me talking about the soundtrack is not going to be monetized probably. The one thing that really gets me into not making money off of this is the music for RWBY. So expect but it's not going to be monetized. There will be an ad playing at the beginning just because YouTube will automatically put a ad to it, but I won't be making any money off of it. In fact, if any of you are wondering, I don't make any money off of these RWBY reactions at all. I do it because I really have been wanting to watch RWBY and I like it. So I don't make any money off of it. The only money I make is from like the Animal Crossing related content. So for the people who have been watching my RWBY reactions, stuff like that, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. This is content that I wasn't really sure if I should put out, just because majority of people who have subscribed to me are on Animal Crossing related content, which is why like 30 people have unsubscribed constantly, because I'm not making hunt videos and I don't know how to make content. But thank you for going along with me in this ride. I'll see you guys in the soundtrack reaction. I'll see you guys in the next volume. Thank you for listening for this 30 minutes of me talking about my thoughts of the current volume, on the characters, on the animation, stuff like that. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about throughout the episode's next volume. Hopefully we'll get into the real meat and potatoes of RWBY. But as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked this video, leave a like. It really shows that you guys are enjoying my content. If you guys are new to my channel, I make Animal Crossing related content at this moment every Monday, and RWBY reactions every Friday. I'm currently considering adding anime reactions on Wednesdays, maybe? We'll see. I still need to see how things go out. From what I've seen from the video I put out on Wednesday, the people who have commented on it have stated that they would be okay with me doing that and they'll be interested in me reacting to anime. To the people who have said that they'll watch whatever content I'll make on that video as well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. As someone who has wanted to do YouTube for 6 years now, this means a lot. Because I know a lot of you don't know this, but this channel was created in November of 2014. I'm an old channel. I'm turning into a veteran channel, but I just haven't made content. And with quarantine, COVID-19, everything, it gives me the opportunity to do so. So thank you guys so much for supporting what I'm doing and for really giving me a reason to continue this. It really does mean a lot. Thank you guys so much. If you are already subscribed though, why not hit the bell? Why not? You get notified whenever I make videos, and like I've been saying a lot lately, YouTube has really been screwing up on mobile for me. Like, at least for me in general. I don't know about you guys, but I keep getting notifications like a week later from channels that I'm subscribed to that don't have the bell on, that they posted. I'm like, yeah, thanks YouTube, I already watched this. I don't care, but thanks for telling me a week later. But yeah, this is just a typical YouTube spiel. I don't expect anyone to actually do this. This is just something that I feel like every YouTuber kind of has to say. But regardless, guys, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a good morning, afternoon, and evening. Bye, everyone.